actor who really brought, realness to television, playing a great character, playing a great son on the Cosby Show.
When news broke that Malcolm Jamal Warner had suddenly passed away, it sent shockwaves through Hollywood. What at first looked like a heartbreaking tragedy quickly twisted into one of the most chilling conspiracies the entertainment industry has ever seen. It started as quiet whispers in the background until the gossip spread like wildfire. But everything exploded when Ice Cube stepped in with bombshell claims that shook Black Hollywood to its core. Malcolm, the beloved actor who made history as Theo Huxtable, was suddenly at the center of a dark and dangerous story. One that not only pointed fingers at the industry itself, but also at Bill Cosby, the man who helped launch his career. According to Cube, Malcolm's death wasn't a random accident. It was a calculated hit to silence him before he exposed the truth. And Cube isn't just talking without proof. He claims to have receipts, leaked conversations, industry whispers, disturbing accounts, and even talk of video evidence. In a shocking turn, Cube revealed that Malcolm had been working on a tell-all memoir set to expose decades of hidden scandals. The book would not only reveal Cosby's double life but also uncover a network of cover-ups, manipulation, and powerful figures keeping secrets buried. Rumors suggest Malcolm had files, emails, recordings, and even a list of executives who allegedly protected Cosby for years. To make it even more unsettling, Malcolm's own mother is convinced his death was no accident, saying he was silenced right when he was about to reveal everything. Cube says Malcolm's final days were full of paranoia and warning signs, late-night calls, hushed conversations, and moments where Malcolm admitted he felt like eyes were on him everywhere. He told Cube he believed he was being followed, and possibly even threatened.
Right now, it's a moment of extreme gratitude. There are people showing up for me in a way that makes me a little emotional. And I don't need to talk about, what the thing is, but people are showing up for me, and not that I should be surprised, because these particular people would be people who would show up for me, because that's just the kind of people they are, but it still doesn't negate the gratitude, whatever emotions it brings up, being touched in my heart and my soul. It's just really cool. And it makes me think about, maybe wants me to share, be a good person, right? Be good to others, be of service, do good for other people.
According to Ice Cube, Malcolm told him directly, "They're trying to shut me up." Those words cut deep because shortly after Malcolm was gone, just like that. What makes it even stranger is how quickly the media went silent. There was no big investigation, no public autopsy, no family press conference, and no in-depth coverage from major outlets. Just nothing. The kind of silence that feels like someone wanted the story to disappear. Cube wasn't buying it, and neither were the fans. Social media erupted with hashtags like #Justice for Malcolm and #Cube told the truth, with the movement only growing louder. Ice Cube claims Bill Cosby wasn't just a sitcom legend. He was a shadow king, a behind-the-scenes puppet master. Publicly all smiles, but allegedly controlling the game in the dark, erasing evidence, and silencing anyone who stepped out of line. When Malcolm began distancing himself from Cosby, turning down shady offers, canceling strange meetings, and refusing to play along, things turned ugly fast. He was blacklisted, frozen out of projects, and, according to insiders, living in constant fear. Rumors spread that Malcolm wasn't only working on a memoir, but also a documentary exposing Cosby's secrets and digging even deeper into Hollywood's racial politics, corruption, and the shadow bosses running things behind closed doors. Some insiders even whispered about a Hollywood fixer, a powerful middleman with ties to both corporate executives and the darker corners of the industry, whose job may have been to silence Malcolm permanently. Sounds like a movie plot, but when you look at how everything happened, it feels far too real. Those close to Malcolm said that in his final months, he became withdrawn, avoiding calls, barely leaving home, and even looking suspiciously at longtime friends. But the detail that stunned fans the most was Bill Cosby's reaction. Complete silence. No post, no tribute, no acknowledgement at all. And according to Ice Cube, that silence is screaming. In a leaked sit-down, Cube dropped his biggest bomb yet, claiming Malcolm was handled before he ever had the chance to speak out. Even wilder, Cube claims there's a recorded phone call from someone in Cosby's inner circle, calling Malcolm a problem that had to be taken care of before he exposed the truth. That tape hasn't surfaced yet, but if it ever does, Hollywood won't know what hit it. Meanwhile, Ice Cube himself has been facing serious heat. Strange cars parked near his home, creepy anonymous emails warning him to back off, and shadowy threats straight out of a mob movie. But Cube isn't backing down. Word is he's been quietly gathering evidence for a documentary that would frame Malcolm's death not as an accident, but as part of a massive, calculated cover-up with consequences far bigger than one actor. Here's the twist. Before he died, Malcolm was linked to certain non-profits, but according to Cube's sources, these weren't ordinary charities. Some were allegedly funnels for hush money, designed to bury scandals and clean up the images of powerful people once their secrets started to leak. And the wildest claim yet. Insiders say Cosby, desperate to salvage what was left of his reputation, saw Malcolm as the ultimate threat. After everything Cosby had already faced, one more bombshell, especially from someone as respected and connected as Malcolm, could have destroyed him completely. That's why, according to the whispers, Malcolm wasn't going to be allowed to speak.
Jeff, how are you feeling about it?
Great. I'm happy we got through it. Like for 5 years, I want a series. And you never think it's gonna hit number one. I mean, we soared straight to the top, and to be number one consistently, to be in the top 5 consistently, that's great. And I'm glad we got through the first year.
How long do you hope this goes on?
For a long time, until the audience stops laughing. And with Bill Cosby, I doubt they ever stop laughing.
What about for you? What has he taught you?
Oh wow. There's nothing I can say specifically. There are things that he's helped me with, throughout the whole year. If it has something to do with the script, if I have personal problems or whatever, it's variations of things, and I'm very grateful.
And what about this party? Seems like a pretty good celebration.
Yes, we're celebrating for another year.
Cube hasn't revealed all his evidence yet, but the cryptic clues he's dropping, the pressure closing in on him, and the eerie silence from mainstream media all point to something much bigger brewing beneath the surface. If even part of what Cube is saying proves true, it could shatter Cosby's legacy and expose a tangled web of race, power, and money protecting the elite. This isn't just one tragedy. It's about a system designed to silence truth-tellers while shielding those at the top. The media might be silent, but Ice Cube, who built his name on being raw and unfiltered, refuses to back down. He's made it clear, nobody's shutting him up. And the deeper you look into Malcolm's final days, the more suspicious patterns appear. This is no longer sounding like a wild theory. It's starting to feel like a cold, hard reality. For many, it's devastating to imagine that America's so-called TV dad may have built his legacy not on family and laughs, but on fear, manipulation, and buried secrets. And now that Cube has cracked the door open, it feels impossible to close it. His voice is growing louder, and more people connected to Malcolm are stepping forward with disturbing, heartbreaking details that can no longer be ignored. Malcolm's mother, Pamela Warner, stayed silent at first. But now, sources close to her claim she's convinced her son's death was no random tragedy. Behind closed doors, she's reportedly admitted Malcolm had grown paranoid in his final months, telling people he felt eyes on him, that his phone and computer were being tracked. Friends remember how he stopped visiting his favorite hangouts, swapped cars like he was running from someone, and even pulled out of events at the last second, as if danger was closing in. That paranoia wasn't just in his head. It came from something deadly real. More and more people now believe the trigger was Malcolm's fearless plan to release a memoir that could have shattered the polished image of some of entertainment's most powerful men. And it wasn't just Cosby's name on the line. Sources say the manuscript had swelled past 300 pages, loaded with dynamite. Details of exploitation, racism, and secret backroom deals the world was never meant to hear. And Malcolm wasn't just pulling from memory. He had receipts. Malcolm had more than just memories. He had years of private journals, broken NDAs, and even sworn testimonies from people too terrified to ever speak in public. His project carried a chilling title, Hiding in Plain View, a name that cut to the bone, exposing how the ugliest truths were sitting right in front of us all along, disguised by Hollywood smiles and glittering fame. And then there was his wife, her identity kept completely in the shadows, who knew exactly how dangerous this was. Sources say she pleaded with him not to release the book without serious legal protection. Because once Malcolm went public as a whistleblower, she feared the target on his back would be permanent, and there'd be no turning back.
Actor who really brought, realness to television, playing a great character, playing a great son on the Cosby Show.
One insider remembers Malcolm's chilling warning. If something happens to me, they'll say it was an accident. Don't believe it. That single line now haunts everyone who knew him. And the official story. It claims he drowned in Costa Rica, swept away by a riptide. But eyewitnesses paint a different picture. Malcolm locked in a heated argument with a man on the beach, just hours before he went under. Yet no police file, no suspect, no investigation. Just silence where there should have been answers. And then came the detail that shocked everyone. Malcolm's body was cremated in less than 24 hours. No permission from his mother, no word from his wife. Just gone. Any chance of finding the truth, burned away forever. But the darkest twist. His explosive memoir, Hiding in Plain View, vanished. Not a page left. His journals, his laptop, everything. Wiped clean, as if the story he was about to tell was erased before the world could hear it. When Malcolm's personal effects finally reached his family, the most important piece was missing. His computer. Emails to his publisher. Vanished. Backup drives he always kept locked in a deposit box. Suddenly off limits. It was as if the entire project had been erased in one clean sweep. But the people closest to him refused to stay quiet. They'd seen it. They'd read chapters. They'd had late-night conversations where Malcolm poured out details that could have rocked Hollywood to its core. And then came the chilling detail no one can shake. According to one insider, the very first line of Hiding in Plain View read, "If you are reading this, then I didn't make it to the end." Just one sentence, but enough to freeze your blood. Ice Cube isn't letting it go. On a podcast, he revealed that Malcolm had reached out to him directly, asking for help to turn the memoir into a documentary. "They'll never let it air on cable," Malcolm warned him. "We have to do this ourselves." The plan was radical. Bypass Hollywood, bypass the networks, and drop it raw. YouTube, underground screenings, word of mouth. A grassroots bombshell they couldn't censor, no matter who tried. Now, that missing footage is considered the holy grail of the entire mystery. Cube's gone as far as hiring a private cyber team to scour the digital shadows for any trace of it. And he's not standing alone anymore. One by one, more powerful names are breaking their silence, stepping into a fight that feels bigger than Malcolm, bigger than Cube, something that could rip open the foundations of Hollywood itself. Jaleel White, yes, Steve Urkel himself, posted a cryptic message right after Warner's death. "Not everything you are told is the whole truth." People immediately paid attention, and the questions started coming faster. The noise only grew louder. Sometimes the story we're given is just the one that's easiest to package and sell. That post from Jaleel disappeared within minutes, but not before screenshots spread across every corner of the internet. And he's not the only one sending quiet signals. Debbie Allen and Tempest Bledsoe have both dropped subtle hints about heavy behind-the-scenes pressure to keep silent. No direct shots were fired, but the weight in that silence is impossible to miss. So why aren't more people speaking out? Insiders say it comes down to fear, plain and simple. Fear of lawsuits, fear of losing million-dollar deals, fear of being iced out of the industry forever. But behind closed doors, cracks are beginning to show. More and more people are admitting they don't believe Malcolm's death was some freak accident. One of the most chilling accounts came from an anonymous executive who worked with Malcolm on a Netflix project. He recalls Malcolm telling him bluntly, "There are powerful men who will do anything to stay in control. If I go down, at least I'm telling the truth." That line is now making its rounds on blogs, podcasts, and indie news sites, throwing even more fuel on this growing fire. Right now, the truth is buried under thick layers of silence, secrets, and raw fear. But Malcolm's circle, his mother, his wife, his closest friends, and Ice Cube, aren't letting this case go cold. They're connecting the dots, following every breadcrumb Malcolm left, and preparing to pull back the curtain on the darkness that may have played a role in his final days. The official story hasn't changed at all, but if even part of the whispers are true, then this isn't just about losing a beloved actor. It's about silencing a man who was ready to risk everything to tell the truth. And if that truth threatened the wrong people, they may have made the biggest mistake of all. Because his voice isn't fading, and his legacy refuses to die. One thing is crystal clear. This story is far from over. Malcolm Jamal Warner's death has gone beyond personal tragedy. It's becoming a symbol, especially in Black Hollywood, where speaking out has always come with a dangerous price. Those closest to him believe Malcolm wasn't just writing a memoir. He was building a movement, something powerful, something meant to inspire young Black creatives while finally exposing the exploitation too many have suffered in silence. And now, it's that very silence that screams the loudest. Ice Cube is still pushing for answers, and more voices are joining in, demanding justice with every passing day. What has the streets buzzing again is a deleted podcast episode, Malcolm's final one, that suddenly resurfaced out of nowhere. It was recorded just 48 hours before his death. The title, When They Won't Let You Speak. No warning, no explanation. It disappeared from every platform almost instantly. But now, thanks to anonymous sources, it has leaked, and it's sending shivers through anyone who listens. Malcolm's voice in the recording is slow and heavy, like a man carrying a weight he couldn't put down. He sounds drained, reflective, almost as if he knew time was running out. He speaks of betrayal, broken trust, and the exhaustion of a man pushed too far. Tired of being polite. Tired of waiting. Tired of pretending everything is fine. Then comes the gut punch. There comes a moment when staying quiet becomes more dangerous than speaking out. There now. That single line has unleashed a storm of suspicion. The episode is only 27 minutes long, but it's heavy. Malcolm drops hints about unseen forces and shadowy figures pulling the strings, a system, he warns, that doesn't value talent at all. You think it's about talent, he says, but it's about compliance. You're either part of the illusion or you're out. Those words are everywhere now, spreading across social media, quoted by indie journalists, and picked apart by anyone chasing the truth. For fans who always saw Malcolm as the grounded private artist, someone who avoided scandals, never chased headlines and stayed true, it's starting to make sense. He wasn't just protecting his own image. He was protecting something much bigger. In those haunting last recordings, Malcolm wasn't just speaking his truth. He was carving it in stone. He even mentioned his daughter, making it clear he didn't care about leaving her fame or money. He wanted to leave her the truth. My story won't be easy to hear, he said. But it's mine, and I won't let them rewrite it. That line has now become a rallying cry. An anthem for those in the industry who are done playing along. Quiet resistance is starting to rise. Young actors, writers, and creatives are flooding timelines with Malcolm's quotes, tagging them with messages like, "We hear you, and your voice lives on." Independent filmmakers are already sketching out projects inspired by his life and mission, determined to carry the torch and finish what he started. Malcolm's voice may have been silenced, but his message is now louder than ever. What he left behind is no longer just a story. It's a spark, igniting a movement that refuses to die. The system may try to bury the truth, but the cracks are widening, and the world is starting to see through the illusion. This fight is only just beginning. Stay tuned, because the story they don't want told is about to break wide open.